that band Axe from those
Gainesville
years?
bands. I'm hard pressed to come up with one of those.
There's a great book you probably dig, but it's called Music Everywhere by Marty Gerard. I've talked about it before, but it's about the Gainesville scene in the late 60s, early 70s, you know, almost to the late 70s.
The only one I didn't see a Mudcrutch, of course, was
Tom Petty.
Petty's
Did you
early
see
band.
Mudcrutch?
I did not see them,
no.
but I had a roommate, an older roommate, that did see them in the late 60s, early 70s.
It's funny we talk about Gainesville a lot. It's just maybe it's because of me and my connection there. But Ryan Murphy was on the podcast. We talked Gainesville places, but Dubs was the hot place when I was there.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
But it was sort of disco when I was around.
Well, yeah, and that's what you had to do. You had to disco in the late 70s,
I've got
early
one for
80s.
You. How about Nancy DeLuca?
Nancy DeLuca. I remember that.
Do you remember her?
Absolutely.
She was like.
She's like the Pretenders or something. Or,
yeah. I mean, she was.
Yeah. Well, and the Riff was
she's
another
still around.
one.
She's still around
Is
somewhere.
she really?
Yeah, somebody I know saw her not too long ago.
Still rocking around?
I don't know if she's playing or what she's doing, but
that's great.
she's out there somewhere.
That's great. Well, Micah, you just got back from it. We're talking about everything. We'll just cover all the bases.
All the bases.
Exactly. But, well, because I just heard a Gordon Lightfoot song, and I asked my wife, whose song is this? And it was like, her answer was like far off. And I was like, oh, it's a Gordon Lightfoot song. But how was Vancouver?
Awesome. It's a great city.
Is it a music city?
Not really.
No?
There weren't a lot of like live bands playing in the bars or whatever.
They film a lot of stuff there. They do a lot of movie picture stuff.
Really?
There. Yeah, that's one of the big places.
It was a beautiful city, though. Definitely my kind of town.
It's a clean city, right?
Very.
It's like people say how clean that is. And
Yeah,
stuff.
it's just feels like they did it right, you know? It's like,
That must be
I
refreshing.
don't know. It's just looks, I mean, they have lots of really tall like condos and stuff because there's so many people, which is like, you know, that is what it is, but it didn't seem to like infringe on the like
cool factor
or how beautiful the landscape was. So I liked it. And I saw Eckhart Tolle.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
So
Obi-Wan
you were a big
Kenobi.
fan of his anyway.
Yeah, he's like Obi-Wan Kenobi and Yoda smushed together.
That's so good.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Knowing that you were a big fan before you saw him, did you get any further enlightenment from seeing him live where you're like, oh,
no, just confirmation that he's
the man.
awesome. Yeah.
Well, I saw Jerry
He's
Seinfeld in Daytona. I took off last Friday night. Speaking of wise
He's
men.
on tour?
He just played the one date, I think, at the Peabody, and I went by myself. I had 3 tickets, but I just ended up selling 2 and going by myself.
Nice.
And I laughed the whole time. I mean, for a comedian that works
Did you
on
say
his
lots
craft,
of like, what's the deals?
he says the same word over and over again, which is just hilarious. You know, he does it numerous times with different words, but like I'll use the example. He's like, "Oh, you're out," you know, like everybody's there, and they're all old baby boomers. And he goes, for one thing, he says, "How many times do you hear the word tickets today? Hey, do you got the tickets? Where are the tickets? I want my ticket. Can I hold my ticket? You better get the tickets." You know, and he says, "We're going out. Oh, we got to go out. We're going out tonight. All right, we got to get ready to go out." You know, use the same
That's
term.
his thing.
And the way he says it's just hilarious. It's just, I said, he's not even saying anything but the same word, and it's hilarious.
He's a Massapequan, right?
He's totally a Massapequan. He's the famous guy that said Massapequa. You know what that's Indian for? Next to the mall. Massapequa's Indian. Uncle Steve-O, that's one of his jokes, okay?
Speaking of Seinfeld, after I was working for Gator Bait, I started working for the University of Florida. I don't know if you knew that, but I was a staff photographer for the University of Florida. And when Gator Growl came around, I photographed Billy Crystal, Stephen Wright.
Ooh, he's awesome.
Jay Leno.
Oh, man.
All these guys one-on-one in the studio.
Those are the good years.
With the Homecoming Queen.
Oh, that's so good.
And it was crazy. It was amazing.
See, those photos have to be seen again. Are you allowed to show the old university
they
ones? They belong to the university?
Yeah, they belong to them. But
Micah, do you know what Gator Growl is?
Not a clue.
It's the largest student-run pep rally in the world, and it's every year at the University of Florida. It's Homecoming Friday.
I also photographed Robin Williams at the one after. Do you remember? Were you at that one?
Yeah. Well, no.
That was the one where he put the microphone down his pants, and he did the heat-seeking moisture missile and all this stuff. And then everybody went crazy after that, and the next year they got Bob Hope.
Yeah, I remember that.
It went from...
That's hilarious.
Oh, you and I were there at the same time, because you remember the one disaster was Helen Reddy. Remember the Helen Reddy year, I Am Woman? That was like, they had Bob Hope, they'd had Bill Cosby, they had everybody, you know. But you're right. When they went to Bob Hope, that was totally let's get back to the family.
They went from Robin Williams and they went to Bob Hope to try to make up for the alumni almost, they almost had heart attacks in the stands because he was, I think it was in his coked out period, and he was just insane on the stage. And
he's insane without coke in his blood.
Yeah, so it was 82, I think.
Wow.
I wasn't working for the University of Florida at the time, I was on the field shooting photos. I still have a proof sheet of him.
See, in 82, when I was actually in school, I always had to work. I was that guy. I'll never forget. I worked at Subway, and it was like nobody
was
in
around
Subway.
in 82?
Oh, big time in Gainesville. What? Nobody comes to Subway. There's nobody in the store. All of a sudden, there's everybody. I had the band in the store one day, right after homecoming. What do? They just let out like crazy. Out of Gator Growl. So I was always that guy who always worked in college. I know that's lame. But later in my life, we had the kids as young. I'd gone back to Gator Growls and did a lot more of that. But by then it was, I don't know, Dr. Love or somebody, some of those weird comedians.
How about the Halloween
Richard
ball?
Crenna, or I don't know what the...
Did you go to any Halloween balls?
Totally. I went to the Wendy O. Williams and the Plasmatics one. Do you know who Wendy O. Williams was, Micah?
Nope.
Oh, yeah.
That's punk legend, man, right there. Yeah, she blew up a car on stage at the band shell.
Wow.
The Plasmatics.
I saw the B-52s there. And Peter Tosh, who I'm a huge reggae fan. I saw Peter Tosh
at the
live.
Band shell at Halloween Ball?
Yeah. He played the 81 or 82, which, I kicked myself because I didn't bring my camera. And of course, he died not too long after that.
Right.
Was he like a rebellious kind of guy?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
He wrote Legalize
he was
It.
super intense.
True.
He was not like a happy reggae singer.
Yeah, he was kind of like...
He's got some real spiritual songs, but he was very, sort of an angry rust of...
Yeah, I kind of got that vibe. Even though, like, his record, he doesn't come off, like, pissed, but you can tell he's, like...
No, he's intense.
He's got a chip or something.
He always comes out with a giant spliff and a cloud of smoke.
Yeah.
It was just I'll never forget that image, and I missed it with I didn't have my camera.
Yeah.
That's funny. We were there at the same time. Do you remember Oingo Boingo and the Fix? That's later
Oingo
80s.
Boingo.
But
Was
that was
Halloween
free at
Ball?
the band shell. I don't think that was Halloween Ball. Halloween Ball was the Wendy. Well, Halloween Ball used to be on Plaza of the Americas.
Well, the first one I went to in '77 was Commander Cody and the Lost Planet Airmen.
At the Plaza of the Americas.
And somebody set off a tear gas canister. And I saw all these people running at me, but there was nothing chasing them. And I'm like, what are they doing? And all of a sudden, the gas, it was just a clear wall of tear gas. That was out of control. It got so crazy.
Do you remember seeing Commander Cody that night?
Yeah, I totally do.
I just saw him not too long ago. Whatever's one of the last Spring Fest or Mag Fest, they had Commander Cody.
Oh, really?
Old dude. Yeah, it was so good. That was so fun.
Because that was more than 40 years ago.
I know, Walter. We're old, man. But it's fun to look back on some of those because they were great musical times. Micah got me this great present. I'm going to stop the presses here. And it's a T-shirt for my birthday with a beautiful black and white picture of the boss. And it says... The only boss I listen to.
Yeah.
Nice, huh? There you go.
Yeah. That's good.
But you know what? I always say rock and roll, and for the way, and for that matter, loud folk music, the way I play it on the Good Morning Americana show, has only been around maybe 20 years before the boss put a guitar in his hand, So it's not that old of an art form. But to think that Gainesville brought us members of the Eagles, members of the Flying Burrito Brothers, members of Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young, members of... Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, members of the Motels. And that was during the times you and I are discussing right now. So I know that's geeky, but I always feel like it's kind of rock and roll historic. I feel that way about everything, though.
Who was the...
what's Tallahassee brought us?
Oh, Tallahassee. You know how to get there, right? You know how to get there?
Yeah, what is that?
You take I-75 until you smell it, and then you take I-10 until you step in it.
Oh, okay.
I can't tell you anybody. Who came out of Tallahassee? Grant Peoples, I love him.
I couldn't tell.
Yeah, thank you. Right.
I actually didn't know, but I figured you would know.
Yeah, you knew I knew. Mm-hmm. Somebody
Even if he knew somebody really good,
I probably wouldn't
say.
Well, Grant Peoples is a good dude. He was just here at the Gamble Rogers Music Festival. Mm-hmm. Did you play Gamble Rogers Music Festival?
Yeah.
How was it?
Good. It was actually one of the most beautiful days I've ever experienced in St. Augustine.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's saying a
lot. It was just like the weather was perfect, under that big oak.
Just like today, right?
It was like, just like today. See, I'm a Northwest guy, so the rain is comforting.
Oh, there you go.
I don't think
we've podcasted in the rain before here, have we?
Yeah.
Maybe.
I don't know.
But so that was good. So you played the main stage, and it was the most beautiful day ever in St. Augustine, and you were on the
in recent memory. Yeah.
What a beautiful stage to be on, and the most beautiful day in St. Augustine history.
Yeah.
I hope you didn't play any wrong chords or anything.
I'm sure I did, but I let it roll off.
Nobody noticed.
You gotta love the Gamble Rogers clientele. They're just good listeners.
They are. They're trained properly by Gamble telling stories. You had to shut up so you could hear it, right?
Yeah, true.
Did you go at all this year, Walter?
I didn't.
I didn't either. I wasn't able to attend at all. Mm-hmm. The National was that same night, though, which our friend Ryan Murphy, of course, the head of the St. Johns County Cultural Events Division, says is the best production he's ever been involved with, a bring a show, and he's been involved with some unbelievable ones. But the National loves St. Augustine. Ryan texted me and said that they promised to be back soon. So even though you guys might have missed it, I wouldn't miss it next time.
Well, I'd like to have seen Peter Rowan. He was playing at
same night.
The Colonial.
Yeah, same night.
I didn't get down there.
That's what I wanted to get to, Walter. You've been in town here long enough in St. Augustine and stuff to see the music scene super changed like I have. You know?
Yeah. Well, there wasn't really one except for the local,
trade
winds.
Right.
And stuff like that. When I started coming here in the 70s, to go surfing when I lived in Gainesville. When I moved to Gainesville in 77, this was the closest place to surf. So we all migrated over here and, started liking it a lot and moved here in 90. So yeah, there wasn't anything. I mean, the amphitheater was the Cross and Sword.
Yeah, right. The
amphitheater was Sword. What's that?
It's Florida's state play. Who didn't know that?
We never talked about the Cross and the Sword before?
No, I'm messing with you.
No,
most people don't know that.
It's Florida's state play, and you had to have Menorcan blood to act in the play.
And all it was a bunch of big old poured concrete. I mean, they weren't even bleachers.
Yeah.
It
was built in the 1950s, right? It was built in the early 50s.
Like just steps.
I took a picture of it just before they started tearing it down, and there was like standing water, like a giant cesspool down by the stage.
Wow.
It's the last show I saw there was Eddie Money. One of the fundraisers was Eddie Money. It was the last time I went to the old amphitheater.
Wow.
And you couldn't even imagine, what it is now. But yeah, the only thing they did
2 tickets to Paradise.
We had a state play in Florida here. Mm-hmm. You love that song.
I love that song.
We had a state play that was not in today's day and age. You couldn't even perform it, pretty much, right, Walter? I mean, it basically had
political incorrectness.
It was pretty racially insensitive in parts, I think. And you were running out of people with Menorcan blood to act as actors in it, Mm-hmm. So I think that was part of it.
I never saw it. I just knew about it.
But people you and I know acted in it, you know?
Yeah.
Harold has a history with that. Harold.
Harold George.
Exactly.
2 first names.
Ask him. Mm-hmm. Paul Williamson has it. Talking about Lauren.
Really?
Yeah, they all have history. They can tell you some stuff about the old Cross and Sword. Mm-hmm. That's too good, Walter.
So that's a play called The Cross and Sword.
That's what the play was called. It was about the Spanish took over.
Yeah.
It was
the conquest of Florida at the hands of,
European
people that
lived here.
Right, exactly. So anyway, musically, though, it's been a transformation. I mean, it's unreal what's happened now. And now we have to talk about Sing Out Loud a little bit because he's just killing it. I mean, I feel like we talk about the same things all the time, but every time they come around in a given year, they're better and bigger and more awesome. But Sing Out Loud this year, I mean, Jason, you saw that, right? Jason Isbell
some of those.
And the 400 unit, the Decemberists.
Yeah, that's
and,
cool.
Lucero, one of the bands I've been playing since I first started on the radio back in 2001. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And then and then all the other music. I mean, now I don't know if you saw this today. They scheduled Widespread Panic for 3 dates right in the middle of that.
They're probably
Friday,
all sold
Saturday,
out already.
Sunday.
At the amphitheater.
Yep, 13th.
Didn't they do that last year?
Yeah, 14th,
they
15th,
do
and 16th.
2 or 3 days in a row. Yeah.
They're going to
so
do it every
weird.
year. Widespread's going to. This is what's going to start happening is where people pick their home base.